Hurricane Ian has strengthened into a Category 4 storm, just 2 miles per hour shy of hitting 157 miles per hour, a Category 5 storm. Ian is expected to make landfall on Florida's west coast in the early afternoon September 28, 2022.
It's producing winds of about 120 miles per hour. Those are sustained winds, which put it at Category 3. It does have wind gusts up to about 150 miles per hour, and further strengthening is actually anticipated as it moves north-northeast at 10 miles per hour. The official track from the National Hurricane Center does have it intensifying to a major Category 4 hurricane overnight tonight. The biggest change that we've seen throughout the day today when it comes to the official forecast from the National Hurricane Center is it keeps that intensity at a Category 4 hurricane upon landfall. Now, there's still a small swath of area where we could potentially see that landfall that stretches from Tampa down to the Fort Myers area, but that's the location where we will likely see the most major impacts when it comes to landfall and the storm surge, the gusty winds associated with this hurricane. Once it goes over land, it will weaken to a Category 1 hurricane and eventually a tropical storm as it curves up towards the northeast. We're also starting to see the possibility that this could re-enter into the Atlantic Ocean briefly, which could allow it at least to hold on to some of its strength with a second landfall along the coast of Georgia or even South Carolina. But there's even more uncertainty when it comes to the forecast once it moves across the state of Florida. Timeline for that would be into late Thursday and then Friday, where we start to see that exiting Florida potentially and then making its way towards Georgia. This will be weakening to a tropical depression as we start to see the impacts here in the Atlanta area in the form of some rainfall. We've been talking a lot about where this track will be going and how that will impact our forecast, and that is still the case. An eastward track like what we're seeing on the National Hurricane Center's official track would mean less impact for us in the Atlanta area, which is good news. There's also better agreement among our spaghetti models, but still not a distinct consensus, especially after that landfall. They start to spread out a little bit, with some of these models having a sharper turn back towards North Georgia and others keeping it mainly going up to an area and really all of the Georgia coast. Rain chances here start to go up by Friday afternoon, but Saturday, especially early Saturday, looks like it'll be the wettest time for us. Our track depends very heavily on whether or not Hurricane Ian makes that trek back towards the west. If it does, that would mean more rain, stronger winds, potentially even a severe weather or a tornado threat. What looks like the most likely scenario right now, though, is that it stays east, which means less rains as well as weaker winds. Coming up, I'll have more on our impact here in Atlanta.
Hurricane Ian is a very powerful tropical cyclone that is currently impacting South Florida after striking the Cayman Islands and western Cuba. The ninth named storm, fourth hurricane, and second major hurricane of the 2022 Atlantic hurricane season, Ian originated from a tropical wave that was located by the National Hurricane Center east of the Windward Islands on September 19, 2022. 2 days later, the wave moved into the Caribbean Sea, where it brought winds and heavy rain to ABC Islands, Trinidad and Tobago, and the northern coasts of Venezuela and Colombia. It showed signs of development into a tropical depression later that day, as convection increased and became more focused. See what Hurricane Ian looks like from space. The International Space Station captured video of Hurricane Ian on Monday as it approached Cuba.